listening to the voices behind Women's Cricket Chat. That's Hannah, Georgie, Cassie, Mahika and Alex. Coming up on today's podcast. Hello and welcome to Season 6. I know we've been away for a while. Did you miss us? Because we definitely missed you. But kicking off Season 6, we've got the only groundswoman, groundskeeper, grounds warrior in the country, Meg Lay. So we talked to Meg about all things groundskeeping, her love of cricket, and, which roller really is the best roller to use.
Welcome back, Women's Cricket Chat fans, to the first episode of Series 6. And Alex and I today are joined by Meg Lay. You might see her riding around on a lawnmower in Bristol, just if you're lucky enough, in the rain probably. But she is the only full-time female groundsman, groundswoman, groundsperson, I don't know. Perhaps we'll come up with a name throughout the episode.
Yeah.
But welcome to the pod, Meg Lay. It's amazing to have you on and to hear about everything that you do, because to be honest, I can't even mow my front lawn without being worried that I'm going to cut the wire to the lawnmower. So this to me is a lesson, and every day is a school day. Welcome.
Oh, thanks. I'm really excited to talk about it. Yes, it's just such a great job, and I'd love to get more people involved, especially women. Like, I mean, considering I'm pretty sure I'm it. There's been a couple of girls. There was one at Sophia Gardens for a while, and then one at Durham, but it's just me now. So it'd be great to get some more girls out there.
So instead of just, like I say, mowing the lawn perhaps at home, if mum promises to make me a cuppa, how does one get into becoming a groundswoman / person / I'm going to go like ground warrior, because that's way more fun.
Yeah, I love
How
it.
did it all start out for you?
For me, I mean, I came over to England 6 months ago, and I came over with no job, nothing really planned at all. And then I saw that the Bristol County Ground, they were looking for ground staff, and I hadn't had qualifications or anything, but I'd studied agriculture. Like, I'm from a farm. I'd mowed plenty of lawns before back home, and I'm just like a huge cricket fan. I play myself, so I thought I'd give it a go, and went and met the head groundsman and got offered the job that evening. So it's all worked out pretty well.
And of course, you sort of slid into our Instagram DMs to come on, which we love, by the way. But
Yeah.
Former guest of the podcast, Fran Wilson, also slid into the Twitter DMs to get you on. She was like, "Oh, you got to get Meg on." So what's it like to have like the support of Fran Wilson? World Cup winning Fran Wilson, trying to get more women involved.
Celebrity pointless winning Fran Wilson, I will have you know.
Yeah.
Yes, half of the
that's her biggest credential. Yeah. No, it is cool. I live with Fee Morris as well, so it's a cricketing household. And yeah, it's great. Like, I go along to their games, and they're awesome. I've got to meet a lot of cool cricketers, and yeah, it's great having someone like Fran to support. Yeah, she definitely helped me out, and yeah, no, it's really cool. It's great to have someone with her sort of profile that's really supportive of what we do. I think that's really important.
And when you go to these games, just like to casually watch and stuff, do you find yourself in a way like when you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, I could have done this better, or I could have done that better," as a groundswoman, grounds warrior, hashtag grounds warrior, we're hashtagging that.
We are, yep.
We're copywriting that. So yeah.
Honestly, there's so much I have to learn. It's amazing. There's so much more to it than I thought there would be. So every ground I go to, everyone does things a different way. So I try, and every now and then I'll think, "Oh, I could have done a motor straighter line than that." But other than that, no, it's just great to learn off other people and how they do their thing.
So obviously it's not an area that is densely populated by women, girls. How do you find that? Is it difficult? Do you ever find that there's something, is there any barriers there as a woman in the role? We get a lot of girls who go to play cricket, and people, they join men's teams and they get that sort of like, "Oh, it's the girl" kind of thing. Is there ever any of that, and how have you overcome that in your time as a grounds warrior?
Well, I can only speak from my experience, really. But the team that I'm working with, there's 5 of us at the moment, and I'm the only woman, obviously, and they are they're just amazing. The head groundsman is fantastic. It's almost like they didn't even notice that I was a woman. They're amazing to work with. And everyone else I've met in the industry is the exact same. They've been so good. And I'd come from a job before this where I was the only woman and had a completely different experience, and I had a really hard time with it. And so I came into this job actually expecting it, and I thought, I know how to deal with it now. I'll be all right. But these guys have been fantastic. It can be a physical job at times, but there's nothing we can't do really. But no, there's a lot of support there, and I think they're all keen to get more people involved.
And so your path, you studied agriculture. When did you come over from New Zealand and then like, how did you just fall into this? You said you saw the role coming up, but was there ever any kind of thought of that when you were younger, or what was the plan before this unfurled?
Well, I've done some interesting jobs. Like I've always done some sort of farm work, tractor driving and that sort of thing. But yeah, I remember, like I said to someone, I want a job where I can just watch cricket because I love cricket and I don't know how to go about that. And I never really thought of it as a possibility. And I don't know, maybe that was because I didn't see women in the role at all, wherever I went. And then it just sort of came to a point where, yeah, the job was there. It was perfect. I didn't have a job over here yet. I was just going to sort of be open to opportunities, and it just came up at the right time. And I thought, well, all I can do is go for it. I'm not, I'm not like a level 4 groundsman or anything yet, but I definitely plan to be. It was just sort of right place, right time. And I think there's a lot of openings for groundsmen around the country. And so I'd encourage anyone to give it a go if they're keen.
See, what you said there was really interesting about like the different levels of grounds warriors, so I'm just wondering, because obviously, with coaching you've got like level 3 ECB coach, level 4, etc. Do you have to really like have much training to be a grounds warrior, and like do you get any qualifications along with it, or is it just kind of like you say, learning as you go along?
Well, I mean, learning on the job's always best for sure, but there are there's courses, and there's a few courses through the Grounds Management Association. And if someone's keen to do it, like it's literally like 40 quid to get your level 1 cricket sports turf, and totally worth it. And you can progress up the levels. You can do a degree in soil science, whatever you want, really. Yeah, you can take on any spin you want, study horticulture, whatever interests you, really.
Because I have this really funny image of you, like you doing the exams, you say you look at the pitch and think, I could have mowed that straighter. I have this image of you like going out to do your grounds warrior exam, you mow your things, and then someone comes out with like a spirit level to measure how straight you've done them. And I just think that would be so funny, and that would be the way to do it. But it's interesting that there are these different levels of that kind of thing. But how does a girl, a boy, or anyone who wants to get involved in like stumble across that or go and start doing that in the first place if they don't necessarily know someone?
You can always volunteer at your local club. I guarantee, like, they're not going to turn you down. If you're playing club cricket, I can just about guarantee whoever's mowing the pitch for you, whoever's preparing it for you, is probably a volunteer. And they probably don't get thanked a lot, so make sure you thank them. But that's a really great way to get into it, volunteering at your local club. But I mean, go big, go and ask your local county ground if there's anything available, because chances are they'd love the help, even if it was just doing covers on a game day. It's just such a good job, and I think yeah, anyone would appreciate it. But yeah, go big, go and ask your county ground, see if there are jobs available.
And obviously weather plays such an important role in cricket. How have you found moving from New Zealand to England? But not only that, do you also have like these special running shoes for when it rains and you've got to like run as fast as you can to get like the pitch covered?
That is actually such a good point. We should all be wearing rugby boots, shouldn't we, when it rains? No, I honestly, everyone said that the English weather wasn't great, but since I've been here, it's been absolutely tropical. Like, it's been so warm. Definitely warmer than what it is back home at the moment. So yeah, the weather's been fine. I'm still in for an English winter yet, so I'll let you know in 6 months how I'm coping. But when it rains, it does rain, and those are always the hard days when you've got a nice day and you just get to sit on the roller in the sun and watch some cricket. It's a dream job. When it's pouring down with rain and the covers are coming on and off and on and off, that's when it gets tough.
You just got to make sure when it is sunny and you're just relaxing on the rollers, that you're not caught on TV or on camera sleeping, because that has happened to a couple of grounds people this summer during the tests.
Yeah, it's happened at our ground. Deputy head groundsman Paul, he's asleep on the roller all the time, and the camera loves it. Just throw him under the bus. But I mean, the best part is the tan lines, just horrific groundsman tan lines, like the sock line, the t-shirt line. It's horrible. I have to be, I can't wear like nice dresses or anything because I look ridiculous.
It's like taking the farmer's tan to another level, isn't it?
Yeah, it's intense. It's very intense.
And can you clear something up for us? Just to me, it seems like it's sort of in the laws of a grounds warrior, you have to wear shorts. Like, I witnessed it the other day, a grounds person wearing a bobble hat, a big puffer coat, shorts and no shoes. And I was like, is this kind of like part of the uniform thing, or do you get ridiculed if you've got trackies on?
I think it is a bit of an unspoken rule. It seems to be an age thing. The younger guys are always in shorts, and I think as you get older, you think, who am I trying to impress? I'll wear trousers. But yeah, no, I wear shorts all year round. I can't explain it. It's just an unspoken rule, I think.
So looking at your career, your role as a grounds warrior, what do you find? What's the best part and what's the worst part?
Oh, the best, like we had 5 international matches this year, and the feeling after, it's you get home and it's like 11 o'clock at night and you can't sleep because you've just you've helped prepare this pitch that records have been broken, and Jimmy Anderson has said what a cracking pitch it is. You're just like absolutely buzzing. Or when it's been raining and you're not sure if it's going to work out or not, whether you're going to get a game on, which happened this year during the Vitality Blast, and we got 10 overs in, so it constituted a match, and that you're always buzzing after that, because it's it takes a lot of work to do that, and to get the game going is a real rush. Worst part, again, it's probably the rain. It's like I said, it's a dream job when on a nice sunny day, but yeah, during the rain it can be pretty tough, especially when the covers come on and off and on and off, and you never really get to play. But yeah, there's long hours, but it's a very, honestly, such a rewarding job, and you get to bump shoulders with some really impressive people. Yeah, it's honestly worth it.
And you mentioned there that you obviously prepare pitches for internationals and for the county game. What are some of the differences in preparing a pitch for an England international, so like the one that's just gone between England and India in the T20 series, and say a blast game between local rivals Gloucestershire and Somerset?
Well, something that people might not think about too much is that we have like an area of the block that is dedicated to international matches, and that's where the best quality soil is, so you're going to get the better pitches out of it. In terms of the work, I mean, we put the same effort into any pitch, whether it's a charity game, under 14s, or the England women or men. Yeah, it doesn't really change too much. It can depend on whether the home team is like spin or pace heavy and that sort of thing, but in terms of the hours and the effort, it's all the same.
And do you ever get those moments you think, you've set out the pitch and you kind of obviously know the ins and outs of it, and then you see the teams come out, and do you ever look at a team list and be like, they've really made a terrible decision there, not putting in an extra spinner or putting in too many spinners?
I think that all the time. I really do. It's the one that gets me is the toss. You're always wondering what they're going to do at the toss, and they'll bowl first, and you're thinking, no, that is a bat first pitch. You've got that one wrong. But yeah, we do. That's the other thing. Ask the groundsman how it's going to play, because they'll know. They'll tell you, and they'll give you the best advice.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I was just going to say, like, could you be the secret weapon? You know, a team has you there and comes to ask you, but that's perfectly within the laws and the rules, isn't it? To go and talk to the grounds person, and that's something that
Yeah,
you hear them say it, and someone's like, "Oh, I spoke to blah blah this morning," but actually, that's so important because then you really do know the ins and outs of the pitch. You know that grass better than anyone.
yeah, exactly. And I think it helps. It helps. Making relationships with the ground staff, and we always do want to help where we can.
You must also feel like a sense of pride and accomplishment in a sense, when they send Mark Butcher out to do the pitch report and he says all these nice things. So it must be like nice for you guys as grounds warriors to hear these lovely words.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. It's always very nerve-wracking when they're going out and they're scanning the pitch and running the camera across it, or even just the players going out and doing a pitch inspection is very nerve-wracking. Yeah, but then you get those good comments and you get players thanking you after the game, and it makes it all worth it. It's such a satisfying feeling. Having Jimmy Anderson comment on the pitch was really cool. We really appreciated it.
And has there ever been a time when, say, someone like Mark Butcher has gone out to do the pitch report and they've just, completely balls that up and got it wrong?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that. There's times when commentators will be talking about the pitch, because like I often listen to the commentary of the game that I'm watching because I'm a nerd. I'll have my headphones in, I'll be listening, and they'll say something about the pitch, about how it's probably dewy and it'll be doing things with the ball, and I'm thinking, I've just been out there and painted the lines and it's bone dry. So they don't always know what they're talking about.
And so you said, one of your favourite parts is, getting that feedback and seeing it do really well on the pitch. What's your favourite actual physical part? Are you more of a mower, a roller, a painter?
This sounds funny, but I love mowing the outfield. It's so satisfying because you get the perfect grid going, and it's so satisfying to cut the grass every day. I just put some headphones in, listen to a podcast, and away I go. It's great.
And you'll be able to listen to yourself on the podcast, which is always exciting.
I don't know if I will, but
do you ever get a point when you watch people, and something happens on the outfield and you're like, oh, my baby, my grass, look at those divots they've left?
Oh, all the time. The one that I hate is like bowlers marking their run up and then just scraping their foot in the grass. It kills me. But if I feel I'm guilty I've done it too. Like, I've played cricket, I've done it too. I will never do it again now that I know how it feels. But yeah, for sure, it's a pet peeve.
And, as a proud grounds warrior, I have a question about the rollers, because this is a topic that comes out a lot in cricket, especially in Test cricket. So what would you say is the best roller to use at the time, so to speak? So if it's a change of innings, and because obviously you've got the heavy roller, then, just the standard one, and then the little small one. So what are the differences, I suppose, between all the rollers?
Well, that's a good question. But what I've found is that it seems to be the small, like the handheld roller, that the guys almost always choose. Sometimes you need a heavier roller when when the pitch is, doing some interesting things, but it seems to be the smaller one. But yeah, when you first start preparing a pitch, you generally use like a lighter roller, and then go heavier once it's been set a bit better.
Do you ever get people asking if they can have a go on the rollers? Because I'm definitely this is what's going through my head right now.
I mean, we haven't, but look, come along. I'm sure we can get you on one.
Can we have like a tester day? Come and try out groundskeeping.
I think the head groundsman at work, he'd have a bit of a nightmare with that one, but I'm all for it.
This sounds so like my kind of thing. And so you mentioned that you obviously play cricket as well. Do you find that, are you still playing at all? And do you find that having that understanding of the ground and stuff has helped your game at all?
Oh, I haven't played this season. I've just been flat out at the ground, but I've played all the way up to it. And yeah, it definitely has made a difference in the fact that, you know, when you're watching cricket all the time as well, you pick up on fielding positions and what their bowlers' plans are, and you really sort of soak it in, which I'm excited to sort of take into cricket and, you know, impart my like new knowledge, I suppose. And yeah, in terms of the pitch, I feel like I always went out there and would feel the pitch and not have a clue. It was basically, if it was green, bowl first, and otherwise I don't know. But now I feel a lot more confident about that sort of thing. I can read a pitch better and, you know, generally figure out what it's going to do. But then sometimes it throws you. Even a pitch that you've spent the last 2 weeks preparing yourself does something completely different than what you thought you would. But yeah, it's definitely helped with my knowledge of the game, that's for sure.
And obviously, you mentioned all the different types of soil and all those kind of things. And those vary not just across the counties, but between countries. Like I was out in Dubai and they were saying they had different soils shipped in from different areas of the world. Has it become like a real science now? Because, you know, me being really ignorant and not really knowing my thing, you know, there's mowing, there's rolling, there's painting. That's about as far as I could go in that. And what's the science behind it all? And is there research that goes into it?
I mean, this is something I'd be really interested in getting into myself. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the answers yet, but I do know that the soil quality makes a huge difference in the pitch you're going to get. You know, and often when people say that a pitch is played poorly, sometimes, like wherever you are, club cricket, county, whatever, it often is because of the soil. It's not because the ground staff haven't done their part. But it plays a huge part. The soil, also the grass seed, where you are in the world, the weather, everything. It all changes things. But it keeps it interesting. You know, you're always learning, and no one's ever going to make the perfect pitch. Because there's so many external factors at play. So yeah, it just keeps it interesting. You're always learning.
And I wanted to take it back to a comment you made earlier about, you know, bowlers scuffing the grass and all that. Does it drive you insane when you've like prepared a belter of a pitch and then like a fielder's just like absolutely taking a divot out of the pitch?
Yeah, it does, especially when you're preparing a pitch that's maybe quite close to the one they're playing on, and you're watching them like, oh, stay off it. But yeah, it can be a bit frustrating, but it's all part of the job, and we're pretty good at patching those things up now. Yeah, at the end of the day, especially like with a 4-day game, when we go out there and we fill in any holes and get it ready for the next day's play.
And so you mentioned that, you know, a 4-day game. And so how would you go about preparing for something like a 4-day game or a test match? Like, what is it like building up to the game and then sort of between the days? How does that vary?
Well, you sort of start preparing it like maybe 12 days out usually. And you'll roll it, cut it, roll it, cut it, roll it, cut it, and keep it under cover. But then by the time they start playing, so they've played a day. At the end of the day, you go out with some soil and fill in the holes, like where they've marked centre or where the bowler's front foot's landed. And you fill in all the holes, pound it into the ground, patch it all up, and do a full cover up ready for the next day.
And then what about like when you have to run out with the sawdust?
That's a high pressure job, especially for an international game. You don't want to stuff it up. Yeah, I had to do that in front of quite a big crowd, and that was nerve wracking. My hands were shaking.
Like a catwalk, but carrying a bucket of sawdust.
Yeah, and all the players are just standing there, hands on hips, waiting for you to hurry up and do it. It's high pressure.
And have you ever had people sort of look at you surprised that it's a girl coming out with this sawdust?
I honestly, I've not at all. Like, no one seems to bat an eyelid. I've had the whole season, I've had one comment, and it was from a man who was probably pushing 90. And he just, all he said was, what does a young woman like you want to be a groundsman for? So he wasn't even being nasty about it. He just genuinely was confused. But no one has had any negative feedback. It's almost like they haven't noticed. It's great.
And I know you said you've had to run onto the pitch with sawdust to kind of fill up the holes or whatever. Have you ever had to come out with that like pounding hammer and like pound the ground? I don't know what it like the correct terminology is, but we've seen it this summer throughout England's test matches. There's like this one groundsman who comes out and he just like beats the wicket where the line is. So if you ever had to do that, mainly it's just Stuart Broad like being pedantic. But yeah.
I haven't. One of my co-workers has. Yeah, if there's some sort of divot, they'll demand that's fixed. But I mean that's what we do at the end of play during a 4-day match. We'll go out and do that to the pitch and smooth out any bumps or anything. But no, I haven't had to do that during a game, luckily.
And actually, on that one about the pounding you get some players that are like prolific gardeners, and like after every ball they go out and is that actually doing anything, or do you just watch it being like you're just wasting time here? It's like a nervous tick they seem to have.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a nervous tick. I really do. I can't imagine tapping your bat on the ground does that much. Maybe it does. I don't know. I've never done it playing cricket, and I'm not sure how much use it is. But carry on if that's your routine.
And how have the pitches at Bristol performed this year? Because we always hear a lot of talk in the news and on social media about certain pitches. Like Somerset, a couple of seasons got docked for preparing pitches that spin. And I mean, that pitch last week at Essex where like 40 wickets fell in 2 days. Absolutely ridiculous, by the way. Don't know what was going on with that pitch.
It was
Absolutely
crazy.
but yeah, how have they kind of performed at Bristol in the Vitality Blast, the County Championship? We'd love to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing to take into account there is that at the end of the season, the pitch that you're playing on has probably been used. Like there's only so many pitches they can do, and there's only so much you can do to get it back to a good standard without doing a full pitch renovation. So I mean, that's what I imagine is the case for those games. With 40 wickets was unbelievable. But yeah, end of the season can be quite hard to prepare a good pitch. Bristol, like we've been really happy this year. We've had lots of good feedback. It's been very like we like that England men's game. There was over 200 runs scored and plenty of wickets. So and that's what we want. We want lots of runs, lots of wickets, and we don't get it right all the time, but it's been a pretty good season for us. We've been really happy.
And so now the season is wrapping up. I can tell you that because I'm really quite chilly and got pissed on by rain today. What's next? How do you guys go ahead into the autumn, the winter, and then start thinking about next year?
Well, at the moment, we just did a quick turnaround and we're straight into pitch renovation. So we were working on that today, actually, which is basically you sort of, I mean, in layman's terms, you dig up the pitch a little bit, reseed it, and yeah, get it ready for the next season. And that's basically what we'll be doing all winter is, getting the pitch nice again, mowing, always mowing. And yeah, there's always stuff to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a busy winter.
And what's the hardest parts in that? Is it the weather, or do you get things like, I don't know, if you put the seeds, do the birds come and eat it? Is that a thing that happens? Like natural problems. Yeah, what are the like issues that you can face at this time?
Yeah, the birds do come and eat the seeds. Actually, we cover them. We cover it in a sheet and sort of hope for the best. I think. but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I haven't seen pitch renovations before. I haven't been a part of that, so yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they get it back to how it was before a whole season of cricket, and they do that every year, the pitch and the outfield. So there's a bit that goes into it, and it depends on conditions like weather and that sort of thing. That's always a challenge, but I'm sure the team will do a good job.
And I wanted to ask, you probably might not be an expert on this, but drainage systems at cricket grounds is also something that gets talked about a lot. What is the drainage system like at Bristol? And obviously, when you get them big rain delays, how quick of a turnaround is it to prepare the pitch to make sure that it's in working order?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't know much. I know that it's sand based at Bristol, so it drains really well. We have these big, like massive drainage tanks under the ground, so the water goes into there and then leaches out of that. But it's very quick to dry, Bristol. Like, it blows my mind how quick it is. Water doesn't sit on the surface for very long at all. Yeah, it's in terms of getting a game on when it's been raining, it's more the covers. You've got all this water sitting on the covers, and that can take quite a while to take the covers off and go around with the blotter and mop up any water. So if it's been raining, it can take a while to get the game on. Usually we aim for about an hour, but yeah.
And do you ever get those times when they keep coming to ask you, like, oh, well, when are we going to be on? When are we? We see the umpires wander out with our umbrellas to sort of give us the impression that we're going to be out there, but actually, like, do you look at it and go, there is absolutely zero chance? These umpires are just stringing everyone along.
It can be a bit frustrating when when it stops raining and you can see that there's another rain cloud on its way, and you're going to get absolutely poured on in about 5 minutes, but you've got to try, you've got to start. And so if that means you end up taking off 90% of the covers just for it to bucket down again, and you've got to put them all back on, that's just the way it is. That's what you've got to try and get the game on, and the umpires definitely always push for it. But no, that's our job. That's what we've got to
do. Yeah, so that's us looking ahead to the winter, but even further in the future, what's the ultimate goal? What's the dream? Would it be to, mow the strip for a deciding Ashes series or a deciding England-New Zealand Test match at Lords? Or what's
that would be like absolutely unreal. I've got a lot to learn before I get anywhere near that. I'd love to be like head grounds warrior somewhere one day. I think that would be amazing. I mean, we've just doing these international games is just such a treat, like every time. And we've got one of the women's Ashes ODIs next year, so I'm so excited for that. And yeah, I think just carrying on with more like academic study around it would be a goal of mine, and just keep trying to get better. But I mean, like I said before, you learn best on the job, and I think I just want to stick at it and keep learning from these guys that have been doing it for so long. Like the head groundsman Sean and Paul, the deputy head groundsman, they're just amazing. They've got so much experience, and I'm keen to learn from them for as long as I can.
And you mentioned that you've got a women's Ashes at Bristol next year. What does that mean to you as well?
It's funny because I'm a Kiwi. I don't have any real skin in the game either way, but it's an Ashes. It doesn't get better than that, does it? It's just like I can't believe that I'm in the position that I'm in, where I can prepare an Ashes pitch. Like that's as good as it gets, really, isn't it? I'm so excited. I've always watched the Ashes, men's and women's, and it's just amazing that I'm going to be a part of it.
And obviously, test matches are a rarity in the women's game. It is getting a little bit better, but obviously progress is always a lot slower in the women's game than it is in the men's. Anyway, I could go on about that for yonks, and Georgie's probably tired of hearing me go on about that. But how cool would it be for you, being a Kiwi, also being an unofficial England person? Like, how cool would it be for you to be able to perhaps one day work on a test pitch between England women versus New Zealand women?
It would be so cool. I mean, just for the New Zealand woman to play a test in the first place, like it's got to happen. They're such a talented team. It's a young team now. They just won bronze at the Commonwealth Games, and they're only going to go up. So an England New Zealand Test match, to be involved with that would just be fantastic. Don't know who I would support. Have to support New Zealand, surely.
But basically, you just want to do a pitch that sees a Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, like 200 partnership, don't you?
I mean, that's the dream. That's the goal. Just good cricket all round. I wouldn't mind seeing a Nats of 100 in there as well, but as long as New Zealand take it in the end.
Fair enough. We all just love cricket, basically.
We do.
We do, yeah. We're here for it, and we're here for mowing it and rolling and doing all the stuff that is so important and just gets overlooked. But for you, in your role, like the only full-time female grounds warrior in the country, that's huge, and that's something that should be celebrated more and heard about more. What does it mean to you to be sort of that role model for young girls that might not have even realized this was something they could get involved in?
It's pretty cool. I think I didn't even know that there weren't women in it. I suppose I'd never seen women, but I hadn't thought about it as much. And it wasn't until I went to an event that had all the volunteer ground staff around the county, and there wasn't a single woman there. And I said to Sean, the head groundsman, I was like, oh, it's very, very male dominated, isn't it? And he said, yeah, you're it. And I said, what do you mean I'm it? And he was like, you're it. And so that was quite bizarre, because I don't know why. I genuinely have no idea why. It's a great job. There's, everyone that I've met has been super supportive. You get to watch cricket all day. You're outside. You're talking to people. It's physical. It's got everything really. And so I'm hoping that I can show people that, like, and young girls and young boys as well, that like this is a great job and you can do it, and there's no reason why you can't. Even if you think you're unqualified, if you think just go for it. All you can do is ask. And if you just want to volunteer at your local club, do it. They're not going to say no.
Well, I think we've probably kept you long enough. That there's grass to be mown. But honestly, hearing everything about like how you got involved, what you're doing, it's completely opened up a new world of cricket that I thought I knew a lot about cricket, and there's just so much more to it, and so many more ways people can get involved. And it's amazing to see what you're doing and hear about it. And I'm loving it. We like to finish off with some fun questions, a bit of a quick fire. I actually have one. I was doing my research earlier. And so in year 13, you won a speech competition with a speech titled Stupid Rules. And I really want to know what the premise of this speech was.
Oh man, do you know what? That was a long time ago. But I remember I'd entered the speech competition and completely forgot about it. And I only remembered that the competition was on like the period before. And so I just wrote this ridiculous speech. I can't remember all the rules. I think one of them was having to put your tray table away for takeoff when you're on a plane. I couldn't get my head around that one. I don't know how I won. I don't know how I won. But there you go.
It's on the internet, so it's there forever. And
that's my legacy then.
It's your legacy. If there was one ground you could work at in the world, where would you choose?
Well, I mean, I love Bristol. I would love to have a go at Lords or the MCG, but I mean, I think Hagley Oval in Christchurch it's one ground I'd love to work at. It's my home ground. I've watched a lot of cricket there, so I'm going to go with Hagley Oval.
Favorite Kiwi dish to eat, and then I'm going to ask favorite English dish you've liked in your 6 months of being here.
Okay, Kiwi dish. It's got to be okay. We do like proper meat pies. Like you can get them at every dairy, like wherever you go. I have not found one. So if anyone knows where I can get like a good proper Kiwi meat pie, please like slide into my DMs because I'm craving one. Um, and in England, I don't know. You guys do good. You do good fish and chips.
English coffee or Kiwi coffee?
Oh man, I'm so boring. I'm not even a coffee drinker. I'm trying to be.
You got to follow it. Like, I honestly think that Susie Bates has just like travelled around England trying all the coffees. If you follow her on Instagram, she's always somewhere.
Yeah, Kiwis are real coffee snobs too. Like they'll let you know if they don't like the coffee. I've found.
Okay, so more personal kind of ones. What was the last thing you binged on Netflix?
Oh, The Walking Dead. I'm obsessed with it. Such a good show.
If you could have someone play you in a film, who would it be and why?
Oh, great question. She's a bit older, but like Kate Blanchett would be the absolute goal. I mean, like I used to think I looked like the Elf Queen from Lord of the Rings, so I'm gonna go with Kate Blanchett.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
This is a funny one because anyone that doesn't say shape shifting, like it's got to be shape shifting. If you're a shapeshifter, you can fly, you can you can do everything. So it's got to be shape shifting.
You could be the roller.
I could be the roller. I
Not
wouldn't
just
have
the
to
one with
operate
the
it.
roller. I am the roller.
Yeah, that would be the dream superpower.
Have you ever had a dream about your job, like a mowing dream or like a mowing nightmare when it doesn't work, or you accidentally mowed a piece into it or something?
I literally did, and it was like just before the last Women's International. I dreamt and it felt so real. It was horrible. I dreamt that I went out between innings to go and paint the line, and I've like spilt the paint everywhere. And then Danny Wyatt came over and called me an idiot, and it was so real, and I woke up so relieved that did not happen.
Can't imagine Danny, calling other people idiots.
No, she's lovely. She is lovely, but I'd let someone else do the painting that day.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be like, oh, I had a dream, I was painting the lines and then like my shorts fell down or something. Arguably, I'm not sure what's worse, your shorts falling down while you're painting or knocking over the paint. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, one's embarrassing and one I'd get in a lot of trouble for, so both bad.
If you hadn't stumbled across this as your dream career, what would you want to do?
Totally opposite. Like this time last year, I was working in a girls' boarding school, like as a matron. And I absolutely loved that. So I'm sure I'd be doing something along those lines if I wasn't working in cricket.
Go-to song on karaoke?
Wannabe Spice Girls. Not even going to hesitate. I'm a big Spice Girls fan.
And the go-to thing you listen to while you're at work?
Oh, I mean, this podcast, obviously.
That was the answer. I was actually really hoping that. So you're on our wavelength. I think that's probably quite worrying for you if you're on my wavelength, but apologise. We love that.
Just putting it out there to the listeners. We did not pay Meg to say that in any way, shape, or form.
We can't even afford Zoom Premium, so we can't bribe people.
No, I love a good podcast.
Wonderful. I don't think I've got any other to go with. Alex, how about you? No, that's a shake of the head there. Well, we'll round things up then. I think he wants to go out, hence why he crawled over my head. Probably a bit of a sign. But Meg, thank you for sliding into our DMs, because this has been honestly like opened a new world, and it's so cool to see what you're doing. You are a trailblazer. You're a grass mowing, trailblazing grounds warrior, and no one can ever take that away from you. What you're doing for young girls, the visibility, getting involved in cricket in other ways is just amazing, and keep smashing it. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast, because you are episode 1 of season 6, and that's what
thanks so much. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I've had a great time.
Just quickly, Meg, where can our listeners find grounds warrior extraordinaire, find like great videos of you, mowing the lawn, painting the lines, all that jazz?
I'm not on Twitter. It's still not big in New Zealand. We're about 30 years behind, but I am on Instagram, just at @laymeg.
And can you please just start doing like a day in the life videos? You can get on the TikTok vibe and just like groundskeeping. That would be cool.
You know what? I think I might. Yeah. I think TikTok day in the life
You can
Day
do
in the life, yeah. Love that.
you can do day in the life videos for women's cricket chat on TikTok.
Yeah, I'd
Send
love
us
to.
all your
Let's
vids
do
and
it.
we'll get it out there.
Sounds great.
Amazing. Well, now you got to go start planning. I've got to take my dog out. Alex has got some editing to do, and thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll get down to Bristol at some point, won't we, Alex?
Hopefully.
And yeah, and oh my god, we're going to come for our tester day. Get me on that roller.
Brilliant. We will do.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Massive thanks to Meg for coming on and being a guest on the podcast. I think we can all agree we learned a hell of a lot about being a grounds warrior. And yes, we are copywriting the term grounds warrior. You're welcome. But once again, thank you for joining us for the first episode of season 6. And we promise to never go on a 2-month break / hiatus ever again. And to all our listeners, if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter at WCricketChat, on Instagram at Women's Cricket Chat, and if you want to give us a like on Facebook, we are Women's Cricket Chat. If you'd like to give our personal Twitters a follow, then it's at HannahT1194, at Georgie Heath27, at Cassie Coombs98, at Mehika Varshni, and I'm at Alex Jane Pereira. This has been Women's Cricket Chat. Tune in next time.